Okay, guys. All right, I think I'm here. I'm ready to go. Let me just double check, make sure everything is a-okay. Yep, it is okay. So, if you were just watching not too long ago, Derek was doing live coverage. We were actually honestly at lunch, and this storm fired up really fast, and we had to just kind of improvise a little bit. Hang on, I'm trying to get the feed up on my phone because I didn't get a chance to fix the chat before this got going. So just give me a second here, guys, so I can bring it up, so I can see what you guys are posting. Here we go. Volume down so we don't get that echo. Okay, I got the chat. All right, so here we go. We got tornado warning now for the southern part of the Chicago metro over by Joliet, pretty much right over on top of the radar, so where the National Weather Service is in the Chicago area. We've had 2-inch hail already in Oswego. I was watching reports coming in, lots. It looks like lots of reports from $0.5 to 2-inch size hail. It's like a ping pong ball report just came in. This is all moving pretty much due east for the whole south side of the area. So let's bring up the next radar here. Again, this is going to be kind of messy looking with the fact that we are basically on top of the radar. So ignore the hail signature there. It is not actually only whatever number this is, 0.59-inch hail. This is actually much bigger hail than that. I'll roll the radar back here, and you can see this storm really got going. I think it was right about here in Sandwich, where I was like, oh, dang, Derek, we might need to, you might need to fill in until we get in here. You can see the CCs were very low at this point. This was by Sandwich, Illinois. And then this moved to the east pretty quickly, really took off by Yorkville. You can see, look at how deep that core is here. It looks like quite a bit of a big hail. The CC is correlating with that. You can see the lower, the greens and the yellows. That's what you want to see when a storm moves through. Oswego looks like they got blasted with, at the very least, very high volumes of hail, ranging from as small as peas up to 2 inches. And that continued to move to the east. We then got pretty close to the radar here as this thing really started to wrap up, and I think that's why they tornado warned it right as it was getting over the radar, right by the National Weather Service. You can see that big hook right in here, went right into the radar, so that's why they tornado warned that. A lot of rotation with this storm. That's going to help loft that hail up a lot longer. So chances are we got a ping pong ball report in Bolingbrook, and it looks like the hail over Lamont, you can even see the CCs pretty low when I zoom in here. Right in this area, we're very close to the radar, so this is showing the hail falling only a couple hundred feet above the ground, only about 300 feet up, and that is continuing to move to the east there with hail, most likely in the golf ball to 2-inch range as it continues to move to the east. Places like Lamont, we're moving in towards Darien, Burr Ridge, and next up will be Orlando Park, and I guarantee we're seeing hail in this hook here as well, along with winds upwards of 60 miles per hour plus, so probably some wind-driven hail within that hook that, again, most likely hit the radar directly, so probably over the National Weather Service for the Chicago area, and again, the storm is moving due east. Let's see. Will this hold together and hit Wisconsin? Sorry, Joey, this is going the wrong way to hit Wisconsin. Maybe Indiana, but not Wisconsin. So again, this is moving due east. So Oak Forest and Oak Lawn, like the southern sides of Chicago, and eventually towards Hammond, Calumet City, East Chicago. If it can hold itself together that long, we'll see how it holds itself together as it moves towards Lake Michigan. This was previously just morning showers that were moving through the area, and we're actually kind of nervous if this was going to mess up the risk for later today. If you watched the video, you probably saw our risk. I had the risk area for Chicago not till about 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, and that was because storms were going to fire up. This ended up being the morning showers. It shows how unstable the atmosphere is today in the Chicago area. The fact that this thing went from just a little nothingness to dropping 2-inch hail and is tornado warned pretty quickly. So looks like we're going to continue watching this as it keeps moving to the east. Let's see if they updated any warnings here, see if any of the reports came in. Still just warned for golf ball size hail. I believe there's a warning for Chicago proper for ping pong ball size hail. Now chances are you have the warning way up here. The hail is not going to be up there. The hail is going to be pretty much right here, point south. You're not going to be seeing anything even though, again, it's got that warning going, and in like LaGrange, Cicero, Chicago proper, all those areas, I'm not thinking that we're going to be seeing big hail there. It's going to be really focused on the southern side. I don't know why they warned it that far north. I think they were just kind of blanket statementing it, or they just want to put the sirens on Chicago or something. But again, this is moving basically due east. So it's going to be going pretty much right along the Route 83. And again, dropping ping pong ball, golf ball size hail. Might still be dropping hail upwards of 2 inches, but we're right on top of the radar, so it's a little hard to see. We have 48-mile-per-hour wind at the net, so they had half-dollar size hail and 48-mile-per-hour winds at the National Weather Service office. So that's in the hook of the storm. So again, the biggest hail is going to be right up in here, and the hook of the storm is a little further to the south, and that is, again, went right over the radar, and that's where the National Weather Service is. They saw half-dollar size hail and winds just under 50 miles an hour there. The bigger hail is going to be further north, and that is continuing moving to east. That's why Bolingbrook, you had a ping pong ball size hail report coming in, and that is continuing to move to the east. This thing is wrapped up like crazy right now. You can kind of tell the wrap kind of looped around there as this thing keeps going. So again, this is I think this might be the only storm in town right now. Zooming out, we have some tornadoes. This is south of Davenport by quite a bit. But if you look to the west here, you have all of this activity starting to fire up. This was going to be what we were most concerned for the severe weather later today, the tornado threat and the large hail. And now this is starting to fire up. So these storms down here that are confirmed tornado warnings, and then these just showers here that are trying to develop up, this is going to be that next round of storms that move through, expected to be isolated. So more hail is going to be coming. This is the only storm so far that has hail, but again, I believe we're going to see more added to this. And don't worry, anything that happens through the remainder of this afternoon, that's all going to be in this one map for the Chicago area, likely going to be approaching that 5-star rating already, which is the first storm of the day. So I'm just going to take 1 second to also check in further to the west. Another area of risk that we had today is the Denver area, where we already have a storm that fired up just to the east of Denver, had some quarter-size hail, but I'm more interested in all these showers off to the west in the mountain region of Denver. Usually when you get storms in the Denver metro along that front range, you see the showers form in the mountains, and when they roll off that front range, that's when they blow up and you get that big time hail. So I see we have a tornado watch already in effect for the Denver area, but they're saying up to, dang, tennis ball size hail. That's crazy. Up to tennis ball size hail. We have a warning now, I guess, for Cheyenne. Cheyenne yesterday, you guys got softball size hail yesterday, and you're warned now for quarters. Hail is probably not going to be anywhere near what you saw yesterday on the eastern sides of Cheyenne, but we can see things are already off to the races here pretty early, folks. It's only 2:30. It's only 1:30 on the front range, so I wasn't expecting storms to form until after about 4 o'clock, and we are off to the races. So showers I'm watching. We already see some lightning here south of Estes Park. That's moving northeast. That would be heading towards Fort Collins if it does fire up and actually drop some big hail or anything. So we'll be watching that carefully. We also had pretty big tornadoes in northern Iowa. These storms here, no hail, just big wedge tornadoes, which, I mean, is no joke. But yeah, my computer is just off the screen here, guys. So sorry about that for everything I got to control. Let's see, any new updates? Let's take a look. They're maintaining that golf ball warning. The tornado warning still in effect. That's still warned for 2-inch hail. And all right, we're gonna jump back into the Chicago area. Let's see what we're looking at here. The storm's getting pretty wrapped up. I think this might turn into a high precipitation supercell, so that just means there's a ton of rain in it. Usually the hail starts to get a lot more mixed in with rain. We'll see how this develops. Again, confident we're getting golf ball size hail right in the intersection of this highway here of Highway 171 and Route 83. I think that's in Hastings, Illinois, as this storm is rocketing, and this wind down here is probably going to be pretty strong. Let's see, can I move this at all? Hang on, guys. There we go. All right, now I can actually be on the computer and I can stay on the screen. So make this a little easier for you guys. See anything else? All right, any other comments coming in? All right, let's check out a couple other, let's try out a couple other parameters here. So this is the ZDR. This one shows your volume of, oh, dang. Okay, we got a lot of hail. The latest update here, pretty easy to tell. You got those pinks coming in. Look at the CC drop here. Another area of golf ball, probably 2-inch hail falling right now, and that's going to be just north of the highway, just north of Route 83. Let's turn the radar off. Oh, over what looks to be a park. And but also within these neighborhoods here. So there you go. So you see, we're talking about the higher precip storms. The thing was warned for, I think, tennis balls or something. I wasn't quite buying the tennis balls earlier. You can see all the brown and orange colors showing up right in here. This thing shows you, this dual pole product shows you the amount of rain falling, and for hail it's helpful because it shows you how much rain is mixing in. So there's a ton of heavy rain mixing in with the hail right here. So I do still believe we're seeing golf ball size hail. However, I don't think we're seeing the crazy large hail that maybe the algorithm might be trying to put out if the radar, wasn't like a couple miles away. So I think you're going to have quite a bit of rain mixing in. Let's not do an update right now, computer. Bad timing. And so again, we're probably seeing a lot of rain mixing in with this, but you're definitely still seeing that large hail. So it's going to be the hail mixed in with that heavy rain and probably gusty winds to make this storm. Keep going. Whoops. I didn't want velocities. Okay, so we're going to zoom out a little bit. Let's roll this thing back. So while I was at lunch, we had this storm. It had a huge marker, it was isolated, and it wrapped itself up really good. Had up to 2-inch hail. Oswego, you got blasted there with lots and lots of hail. It continued moving east, moved right over that radar with we had a report of $50 size hail at the National Weather Service office, ping pong ball size hail in Boiling Brook, and now it's continuing to move to the east. It is roaring here and looking a little more high precipitation in nature, so a little less conducive for super big hail. So I think, again, ping pong golf ball size hail with a lot of rain mixing in as we continue moving east. Next in line we have is Oak Lawn section, Oak Lawn, Illinois, and then probably going to go on to the far southern edges of Lake Michigan. You can even see all these storms trying to fire up in front of it. This thing is really ripping in a lot of inflow. Hopefully that we don't get any tornadoes out of this. Big thing to be weary of. Jesus, why is this? There must be something else going on here. I doubt there's actually like a tornadic signature like that. Yeah, but the wind is ripping there. So it's showing a very strong tornado signature. I don't think that's the case right now. I'm sure there's a lot of rotation in the atmosphere. It's just we're very close to the radar, so there's some noise that can cause the algorithm that's used to pick up these tornado signatures, some noise to make this thing go a little crazy. I don't think it's going to have a big tornado like that. Keep an eye on the correlation coefficient. So not only is this good for picking up hail, it was originally intended to pick up debris in a tornado, and I hope that's not debris. No, I don't think this is debris. Be careful though. Okay. All right, any comments, questions coming in? Just people excited for Chicago. Okay. Let's see if I get any ping. Ooh, man, ping reports all over the damn place. Okay, sorry, I'm looking on imping reports on my radar scope to see if there's any other hail sizes coming in. That's always a good way to tell. So the hail marker keeps going back up. It's not the storm re-strengthening, is literally just the fact that we're moving farther away from the radar. We're getting more of the storm profile being shown. I'll show you guys like what the 3D looks like on this thing, right? So just maximize this. So you can tell on here, this is not how a storm looks. It doesn't do this. That is the radar. It's right here in the middle. So it's right down by the ground and it shoots out. So it has the storm at an angle like this. So it will screw up the algorithm as the storm passed right overhead. So it may look like the storm shrunk, but really they're just cutting the top off of it. And it's going back up now as we're getting farther away from that radar. So again, the hail algorithm is going to be all over the place on this one. And there we go. Look at that. Man, we got, Jesus Christ, 3-inch marker. Golly. I wouldn't be surprised if this thing, if we have another big time hail drop out of this coming up soon. This thing is mean. Yeah. So, I mean, we're not that far from the radar, and the marker is getting big again. We'll likely see softball to 2-inch size hail again. I don't know if we'll see 3-inch hail. That might be a little pushing it a little bit, but I think we might definitely see a lot of hail from 1/4 to maybe up to 2-inch in diameter. Again, this is now moving pretty quickly to the east. That hail core now over Hickory Hills, Palos Hills, near Chicago Ridge, Oak Lawn, you're next in line, Evergreen Park, Marionette Park, and then eventually we'll be crossing into Indiana at some point. Again, this thing looks like it's going due east right now. It might try to make that turn, make that right turn a little bit to the south and east where it hits more of Indiana, but I wouldn't be surprised if this storm ends up having a lot of its hail core going to Lake Michigan in the next like 20 minutes or so. So, somebody asked about Indianapolis. Oh, we got some storms over there, I see. Holy crap. Okay, we got a bunch of tornado warnings now. All right, guys. Looks like Illinois is going to be... Whoops, didn't want that. Looks like Illinois might be in for a tornado outbreak today. So we got storms to our west. These are west of Rockford. So here's the storm we've been talking about. The one that's... excuse me, guys. That's some Mexican food coming back. We have this is the storm that's been dropping up to 2-inch hail. And then off to the west here, we now have 3 storms with tornado warnings, all strengthening. This one in particular, just to the east of Davenport, has my attention the most. It's more isolated. There's nothing below it to kind of kill its updraft or anything. I think this one, it is already tornado warned. I think it'll also be dropping large hail in sooner than later. Again, this is by Davenport. It's only warned, God, that was itchy, man. It's only warned for a tornado right now, but I would not be surprised if this thing starts picking up some hail with it as well. I'm going to check a little further to the west. Gotta keep checking on Denver. We see some lightning showing up, this little shower west of Estes Park. And so these 2 showers here, keeping a close eye on these, and then showers off to the south. Any of these can pop up and end up causing big hail. And then Cheyenne, you're getting hit right now with up to some 1/4 size hail. You were hit yesterday with much bigger hail, so this is not anywhere near as big of a deal as what happened yesterday with the softballs. So, all right, now that we've kind of seen an overview of everything, let's jump back into the Chicago area. Have we had an update? Not entirely. Big time hail marker on this, guys. Let's see if can I get enough of a profile of this in 3D? Not quite. So you can see, look at all this, all the purple here. I think we say, give me that perp. All this purple, this is the hail suspended. Look how it's shooting out in front of where the storm is. So where all that hail is falling down, where it's showing up on radar, where it's falling, it's shooting way out in front. This thing is exploding. is continuing to strengthen. It's eating that very warm, unstable air out in front of it and causing it to strengthen even more with that hail now kind of suspending out in front of it. So you start seeing some isolated hail even ahead of when the storm hits you, because they'll be suspended up in here, and then it'll eventually start to fall down when it gets big enough to fall down. So I would not be surprised. Again, we're going to probably see somebody get blasted with a pretty good hail core coming up. This thing is wrapped around a lot. You see this inflow coming in like this and sucking into this area right here. So we'll see how big this hail gets as it heads into Oak Lawn imminently. All right. Okay. Sorry, I'm just waving by. So let's see. Rolling this back a little bit again. 2-inch hail in Oswego. We're now moving, this storm moving due east. And now hail is falling in Oak Lawn, right along the Tri-State Tollway and Route 7 and Chicago Ridge. Bam, there you go. Look at that, CC's dropping out quite a bit there. Again, this isn't going to be like 3-inch hail or anything. Even though in the marker is going 3-inch baseball, all these like crazy big numbers, I don't think we're seeing anything as big. Again, this KDP, or this indicator right here, when you see all the brown and all the orange, that indicates that there's a lot of rain mixing in. That's going to cause melting of these hailstones and cause them to not be as numerous, but still, oh no, my battery died? Ah, dang it. Okay, hang on guys, 1 second, I gotta replace the battery. Derek has the good camera in the truck right now. So, I know you can still hear me. Don't worry. We are going to be good to go in just 1 moment. There we go. Yo, Matt. Matt.
Yeah.
Can you throw this on a charger, please?
Of course I can.
I just had to switch out the batteries. So, thanks. Okay, guys, had a little behind the scenes there. Anyway, so again, storm continuing moving to the east. I got an updated warning for quarters. Yeah, I mean, it's too far north for them to. I don't know why the hell they had that so high up. So, okay, so you see we have a lot of rain mixing in with this, so it's not going to be dropping 3-inch hail. But if we look at ZDR, there is definitely, even though there's a lot of hail, a lot of rain mixing in, there's also still predominantly hail falling. So there's melting, and that's why I'm thinking we're seeing the CCs are low. So I'm thinking we're seeing golf ball to maybe close to 2-inch hail. So ping pong to 2-inch hail along the tollway, Tri-State Tollway, and Route 7. This is moving again due east. So it's going to go Oak Lawn, and then next I think somewhere in the Evergreen Park, and then south side of Chicago, which I know is not the greatest part of Chicago, but that's where it's headed. South, Beloit, Roscoe area. I don't know where that is. Is that north? I'm not 100% sure. Okay. Anyway. Further to the west, again, we have a couple tornado warnings off to the west. We're going to be watching this storm east of Davenport, and this other storm looks like it's trying to break away. This one's going to be to the northwest of Rochelle. These two, they're tornado warned now. They're not warned for hail, but I would not be surprised if both of these storms start dropping big hail as they continue to move east. This was the original risk that we were looking at for today for supercell development, with that tornado risk, that tornado watch that's in place right now, and then the big hail threat for later. This storm that's happening right now is just an, I guess, added bonus to our storms. Willing to bet, I know I said the title of the video has green pants question mark. I think this is probably going to make it a 4-star map right now unless we start finding some really big hail somewhere. But there are more storms coming. This isn't going to be the only show of the day. I'm pretty confident now as we're looking at what's happening that more storms are going to form elsewhere. Looks like we have storms trying to form all over by the Indianapolis area. Doesn't look like a lot of hail with that. And then further to the west, still continuing to watch these showers taking their sweet time in the mountains by the Denver area. Any of that fires up, we'll obviously do coverage for that as well. Anybody got anything? Any project the north suburbs? Says Kurt. Okay, what time for Indiana / Hammond? That's going to be the Hammond area as the storm is moving pretty much due east. You have probably another like 25, 30 minutes, another half hour or so before this thing gets here. So Hammond's like right over here, and this is moving this way. I think the majority of the hail might actually end up going into the Lake Michigan unless this thing takes a pretty hard turn to the south in a few minutes here. Oak Lawn, you're getting hit right now with quite a bit of hail. Definitely a lot of hail for sure happening right now. Asking about the northern suburbs. This storm is not affecting the northern suburbs, obviously, but we have these storms off to the west. So this storm back here, right now it's well west of Rockford, but it's moving in a direction where this storm would head towards the northern suburbs, and even the storm down back here, that would probably eventually head towards the northern suburbs as well. So that will be much later, a couple hours from now. We may be back. We may stop the stream and then come back later for that. So, all right, we got a new warning issued now. So somebody asked about Hammond. There you go. Has a history of producing large hail. It's more for ping pong balls now, so I think they're a little apprehensive because we haven't had a big report in a little while. Okay, in Indy now, north side, Westfield, Carmel area, storms rolling in as we speak. What about South Bend, Indiana? What about North Bend, Indiana? Is North Bend a real town, or is somebody just being coy? South Bend, it's going to be a while for you guys. This storm is, South Bend is right over here. This storm is way the hell over here, so it's going to be a while before it gets over to that way. We'll see if it survives the journey across the southern portion of Lake Michigan. If it does, then yeah, parts of Michigan and northern Indiana will be at risk. But right now, I still think the hail core is going to mostly cross into Lake Michigan and then miss, obviously, people. I'll just hit some people out on the boat. Storms rolling in, yes, on the north side of Indy. Yes, that is the case. These storms are not severe in the Indianapolis area if you're watching from there. Tornado warning continues here on the south side of Chicago. I'm sure you probably hear the sirens going off if you're down the south side. I know I've seen videos of when the sirens go off like in downtown. It sounds really creepy because it bounces around everywhere. I keep checking west. Looks like the storm has moved through Cheyenne. We have a tornado warning just to the east of Denver, northeast of Denver. This is outside of where people live. Here is the Denver airport, and then here is the storm, so it's not where people are at. The storms we're going to be interested about is any of these showers in the mountains rolling off the mountains and taking off. Again, probably not for a little while, probably not for a couple hours. Okay, we haven't had any big reports in a little while. I'm curious if this thing is not dropping hail as big. All right, we just dropped the tornado warning, and the pinks have really kind of come down. So I think we might have had a big hail fall out there in Oak Lawn, but I think the hail size might be dropping quite a bit, at least temporarily. We'll see if this storm re-strengthens itself in a little bit here. Is anybody messaging me here? Nope. Okay. Let's check out my MPing reports. Okay, the hail sizes are a little smaller on this, so I think we're going down in hail sizes now, guys, since it is, we are at, there isn't too much to really indicate here. We're seeing hail much larger than maybe $half size hail as we're getting closer to Lake Michigan. Looks like we kind of one and done that hail there on that specific updraft. So it'll be getting close to this highway here, I-57. It's going to be just to the west of I-57. You might have had a burst of some big hail. Hail's probably getting a little smaller now as the storm is moving to the east very quickly. But you're down further south. I bet you got some pretty strong winds. This is a big, strong gust of wind here down by Midlothian and University Park. you guys are probably getting a nice gust of wind upwards of 65 miles an hour. Probably minimal hail with that, but it is pushing to the east pretty quick there. Again, the hail is going to be up here. See, the CCs aren't as impressive as they were earlier. Not even the normal reflectivity, the normal radar looks pretty unimpressive in terms of the pinks that are available. So I'm really thinking that we're probably not seeing as much big hail. A lot of heavy rain, gusty winds, and then hail sizes probably getting down to that marginally severe levels. Somebody asked, okay, West Texas tonight. Yeah, there could be a couple storms in West Texas. Let me bring up this. It is possible we could see a couple storms down by Lubbock, or maybe east of Amarillo, over by Shamrock and Pampa, Canadian, that area. But that's really all that's like at risk. I think we could see a little bit of storms down by Odessa, but it'll be 1 or 2 at best. And that's going to be from like the border all the way up to like the Red River. 1 or 2 storms spread out over that far is not good. Not good odds. And yeah, I'm willing to bet these storms are going to take off and go towards Fort Collins a little bit here. But I'm not going to stay alive for that whole period. We've got a warning now on the east side of Indianapolis. That's just for wind. So all the stuff in Indiana over by Indianapolis here, that's all just wind. There's no hail with any of that. Next stuff where I'm going to keep an eye on for hail is, man, this storm looks pretty good. I don't even have the right radar open for it. Okay. Man, this storm is hooking real good. Look at it, you can see the rotation here. This is a storm in the Chicago area. See that little curly Q coming in? That's where your rotation is going to be. I know it's not tornado warned right now, but this thing has a lot of at least mid-level rotation. So again, low-level rotation after your tornadoes are going to be mid-level. That's like the middle of the storm. That's usually what's good for like hail production. So this thing is still spinning quite a bit. And that continues moving east. I'm surprised they dropped a tornado warning on this thing. It doesn't look like it'll... Yeah, it's got good rotation on it. Yeah, I'm not the National Weather Service, but whatever. Hang on, let me see here. Might be getting a little bit of hail on I-57, points east towards, what I just called Alley. What the hell? South Princeton Ave. CC's dropped quite a bit in there, so maybe a little area up to some quarter-size hail right in here. If I zoom in on it, you can see the little area, the greens and blues. Wouldn't be surprised you're getting some hail in here. That doesn't look too bad as this continues to move to the east. We're getting close here to the water. I think the storm is going to end up hitting the lake, and that is really going to kind of be all she wrote for this storm, seeing how we're not going to map the storm over a giant body of water. So I think I'll be wrapping this up pretty soon. This map, of course, is available and will continue to be updated through the afternoon as more storms occur, because again, I'm pretty sure this is not going to be the only one. So we already have more storms off to the west. If you live in Illinois, in the Chicago area, of course, as always, be weather aware, take your tornado precautions in the event that you are in a tornado warning. I'm not going to be getting onto the weeds about what is about to be impacted with a tornado, because we focus on hail here. So again, if you live in this area and tornado warnings in your area, turn on your local news. You can have us on at the same time about that. So otherwise, I think we're going to just kind of let this ride a little bit here. Another few minutes before things get going. Again, I'm not sure if we're at a 5-star map right now. I think it's probably only going to be a 4-star at the moment, unless we find some pictures of gigantic hail or anything like that, or we see videos that are very convincing of something really crazy. But right now, I think we're 4-star map, and with more storms possible this evening, there's a very easy possibility that we could ramp that up if any other big storms come through. Again, this just showed the potential that today has, where this morning activity, this shower just ended up moving through with an area that very quickly became very favorable and dropped a lot of big hail. And now we're about to enter Lake Michigan. Again, it is currently hailing on the south side of Chicago, which I know a lot of folks probably aren't super thrilled about, but that's where it is. And man, look at this thing hook. Look at the hook on this thing, guys. There's a lot of rotation with this storm. It must have absorbed a boundary or something, because that is pretty impressive. Looks pretty impressive there on radar, guys. So it keeps going to east. Yeah, they kept the warning for ping pong balls. And I'll go on Twitter here real fast, guys. Let's see if, what the hell? Oh no, I put the wrong Twitter in. This might not be a good idea. Now look at it. Hail in Naperville, huh? Dang. Look at some hail there in Naperville, guys. It's a pretty good size hail. Yeah, I'm just kind of thumbing through Twitter really fast. And yeah, it's like pretty high volumes. Doesn't surprise me, it's high volumes of hail. Anyway, latest radar update. Got a nice little area. Got some more hail falling. We're practically on the Indiana border now. More hail, again, probably closer quarter, $half size hail. You can see the CC's dropped down quite a bit here. And then just go on to CDR. Does that correlate? Yeah, so we got, I bet there's a lot of rain mixing in with this. Yeah, there's still a lot of rain mixing in, a lot of melting going on. So you gotta take that with that grain of salt and go say, hey, you know what? Marker might be saying one thing, CCs might be pretty low, but I'm willing to bet that this hail is closer to quarter, $half size versus when you see this on other storms and you're like, dang, you know, I might be dropping really big hail. So again, might just kind of keep this going here until we cross into the lake, which is going to be happening very soon. It's hailing pretty much right up along that coast on the Illinois-Indiana border, and that will be moving off the coast in a few minutes here into Lake Michigan. Elsewhere, what is going on? We have storm southwest of Sterling, warned for a tornado. Storm to the west, southwest of Rockford, warned for a tornado. We'll see if these storms can get their acts together for hail a little bit later on, because these will be where your risk is going to be. And then further to the west, that's like a line that's forming. That's not ideal. We'll see what's trying to get its act together over here by Denver. Oh, and a confirmed tornado warning on this stuff in to the east of Denver. Right, good thing that isn't hitting Denver. It seems like all the stuff that's happening in Colorado past 2 days is trying to spit out tornadoes. We do not want that where people are at. So if you're just tuning in, we had a pretty big storm moving through Chicago, the western suburbs, and then the south side of Chicago now, about to enter into Indiana. And looks like the storm, hail-wise, is definitely weakening quite a bit as it's about to cross into Lake Michigan. So I think that's all I'm gonna do for now. I'll probably wrap this up for you guys. We'll come back a little bit later. I'm gonna go help out with everything. We'll be here, don't worry, just because it's a holiday, we're not going anywhere. We're gonna be here. We're ready to roll through the remainder of today. We'll come back with any other live coverage of any other storms that happen, whether it's additional development in the Chicago area, storms in Denver, or somewhere else, some surprise area as well. We'll be here for the rest of the day. So thanks for tuning in, guys. We'll hopefully see you a little bit later. Have a good one.